One of the most important periods of music in history, period. The 80s was full of creativity, amazing sounds, awesome songwriting, an explosion of brand new sounds that we've never heard. Synths finally started sounding like the future. And at the peak of that frenzy, 80s glam guitar happened. With some of the wildest guitar playing and the most captivating sounds, the 80s was full of goodness. And today, my friend, we do a tribute to the 80s by making a very 80s guitar sound in Amplitube 5. Let's go! Amor lanzas and now we break it down, baby. Thank you so much for being here once again. And today, my friend, we're gonna take it very easy, but we're gonna make a great sound. I feel like 80s tones, since they're like so wild, most presets that I hear, they tend to overdo it to a point that I don't really want to use it in any song. They either get way too thin or way too processed, or flat out, it doesn't sound like any song I've ever heard. Alright, my friend, make sure you get a great set of headphones or a great set of speakers that you trust, maybe a snack, a drink or something. But now, let's stop the talking, get to the rocking, and grab a guitar. Today we're going to be using my PRS SE Custom 2408 because I really trust this guitar. And today is actually a day that I would really like to use my Charvel, because honestly I really recommend you to use active pickups for this kind of sound. Anything from EMG or Fishman would probably do really nice for this kind of tone. But I want to trust what I'm hearing, so I'm using my PRS. Maybe I'll remember to try the Charvel so we can hear some active pickups. Alright, let's go to my computer. Right, so here we are, straight up default patch. The only thing that I actually did was turning my output 6 dBs, mostly because I want to make sure that I'm not clipping the recording for you guys. But it's a very good practice, especially when you're tone searching, to lower the output down enough to make sure that you're never clipping the plugin, because every time you clip, it's going to sound so bad that you're never going to choose the amp that you should be choosing maybe. So I lowered the output. Okay, so let's go. This is whatever default. Just a simple Marshall. It sounds pretty good, but that's not even close to what we're going for. So we're going to start by choosing one of my favorite high gain amps, and we're going to go right here. Vintage Metal Lead. Let's just hear the default state. So as you can tell already, it's a more high gain sound. Right, so let's just start tweaking our settings. The first thing that I think we need, it's a lot more presence. So we're just gonna go to 8.0 and treble 8.0. Already, in my opinion, a lot closer. So this is what we have as a default, and to me, it's not 80s enough. Let's change our cabinet to our vintage M1, which is a cabinet loaded with greenback 30s, right? Pretty cool. And what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna mute this room sound and we're gonna mute the secondary microphone. For this sound, we're not gonna need multi-micing. Okay, and let's just hear what that sounds like. Already, it just came to life, right? I like it a lot more. But as you can tell, it got a little bit thin, and I feel like it needs a little bit more power. I mean, of course, we just muted 2 microphones. The least that was going to happen is that we were going to lose a little bit of volume, right? So let's just change the microphone to something that I know it's going to sound a little bit better for what we're doing right now. So let's just click right here on our microphone, beep, 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 and then go here in mic. And we are going to change this dynamic 57. And usually, I would like to go for a condenser 87, right? And we gained a lot of the volume and the weight back, right? But I still feel like that one wasn't enough, so I went in this time with the condenser 12. Because this one has a little bit more detail in the top and a little bit less low mid-range, so I feel like it's definitely helping this kind of tone. I always like to check my mid-range with that riff just because I kind of know how it's supposed to sound, and I always like to check a sound with whatever I remember in my head, right? Let me know in the comment section if there's any riff that you like to play every time you check new gear. And while you're there, remember to like, subscribe, and do all those cool little things that we like to do on YouTube. And enjoy this little bossa nova, my friend. I hope your day keeps getting better and better and better. Alright, let's keep making noise. So for me in this case, the C12 is like the perfect balance between definition, weight, and clarity. But feel free to try all the other microphones, my friend, and see which one feels better for you. Or which one feels more 80s. Right, so this is a pretty good cabinet already. But you know that I like to tweak a little bit more than I should, and in this case, I want to try different speakers. And after going through a big tour of every single speaker that we have available, I realized that very, very close to that sound is this Brit V3 that I feel like it sounded very close but better. I mean, to me, that's a really great difference. Let's go a little bit A and B really quick. I mean, that sounds like a really nice full sound. Just like an overall great rock sound, right? And that's why you tinker with your components to make sure that you're getting the sound that you want. So let's say right now at this point, we have a nice sounding amp. And it's starting to sound very nice in 80s. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's move on with our next section. Now I'm gonna bring a little bit of an overdrive pedal. Let's see what we have. And of course, what is more 80s than the rat pedal? Let's place it right here. Ooh, that's a lot of noise. So let's start by putting a little bit of a noise gate in the back of the effects loop really quick, so I don't go insane. Boom, noise gate right here. And in this case, we're gonna be pretty aggressive to like, I don't know, yeah, 37 sounds good, mid sounds good, and fast, all the way fast. Let's go back to this rat. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this distortion way down, like, I don't know, maybe like 2.5. And then the filter, I'm going to turn it to like, I don't know, almost like 9 or something. Almost all the way. But I'm going to take some of the edge out. Let me manipulate the volume and explain that. And the volume, we're going to have it like around 7. Since I'm not pushing the input so hard, I'm pushing the output a little bit harder. So let's just hear this and let's hear the filter, how it works. Honestly, what this does really quickly for me is that it took whatever was like a little bit ugly, or let's not call it ugly, but a little bit maybe too aggressive, too out of control in like the upper mid-range. It just made it fuller, a little bit more distorted, but sort of like prettier sounding. And yeah, we might have lost a little bit of top end, but don't worry, friend, because we're going to gain it back very soon. To me, that sounds so 80s. Let's just hear the filter really quick. That's pretty much like just the amp, right? And this is just making it softer. You're like, Jorge, but why would you like to make it softer? I don't know, man. It just sticks out to me when I'm listening to the sound. And when I hear something that makes it better, it makes it better. That's why it's very important for you to train your own ears. And ask yourself the questions. What do you like? What sounds better? What doesn't? In my case, I like what this is doing to the amp because it's giving it a little bit of sense of like a more polished sound. I think we can establish that it was a great sounding amp already, right? Because we tweaked everything that we needed to tweak to make it sound good. And this just adds a little bit more to that equation. It's just like a sense of evenness, a sense of control. That's what this pedal is doing in my case. You might like to use your rats a little bit different than I am doing it right here, and that's perfectly okay. Go ahead and do it, my friend. And now we're feeling a little bit too dry. Okay, and so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to go right here to our rack, and we're going to start to 80-fy. They sound a lot more right now. We're going to go to our modulation section and choose a digital chorus. Yup. We're starting with the chorus, my friend. What is more 80s than chorus in your guitar? Nothing. Let's go. But the first thing that I'm actually going to change is this little toggle switch from stereo to mono. And I'm going to turn the mix down, I don't know, maybe like to 15%, 16, whatever, 15.8 sounds good. Let's hear it. And as you can tell, it's not like super aggressive, like there's this chorus right here. No, this is an actual kind of chorus that I feel like it was like very key in the 80s. Like you just leave it on all the time. It just adds some movement, some spice, definitely some 80ness. Okay, I feel like that brought a little bit of 80s to our life. Let's hear it with and without. Right? It's just crazy. All of a sudden it just sounds 80s. But let's move on. We need a little bit more. And now we're gonna bring the wetness. We're gonna start with digital delay. Right here, right after this, in our rack A. And the first thing that we're going to do, we turn our delay to maybe like an eighth. I like eighth triplet, eighth dotted. That's usually pretty good. And then we're going to go down to our mix. I'm going to turn it down really, really low, maybe to like 9. Let's hear it. Okay, so now that we have a pretty 80s, I think, all-purpose guitar amp, let's bring the real 80s to the equation. Let's start by adding a digital delay right here in a rack A. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to change our time to 1/8 triplet dotted. That's usually what I like. It could be just a regular eighth. You choose whatever you like, my friend, okay? And then I think feedback, that's perfect. Filter, we're going to turn it up a little bit to maybe like 3K, maybe almost 4K. Because this is the 80s, we need all the high end we can. And then the mix, we're going to turn it down to maybe like, I don't know, 9. And now we're starting to really hit the realms of actual 80s. Let's turn this down a little bit more. Maybe 7, that's fine. And now let's add a little bit of reverb. Again, digital reverb. Because this is the 80s, the heyday of everything digital, right? You have to use digital. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mix really low. I'm super extreme. When I say low, I mean low. Talking about 0.9, 0.8, like really low. And then my decay time, let's just turn it up a tiny little bit. Okay, so now that everything is correct, let's see our color. Okay, this is way too dark. Let's just turn it right here, like 4800. Now let's hear how it sounds. And honestly, this kind of tone, I feel like since we're being so deliberate, making sure that we're choosing the right effects and put them in the right place in the signal chain, we have a lot of definition and clarity still. So let's say if you're the only guitar player in your band, this lush and white sound can actually work for you. So you should probably try it. Really, really nice. But now, bonus. If you really want to get 80s hard, and I mean hard, you're gonna go right here in your pedal section, and we're gonna choose in our modulations this great Wampler pedal called the Nirvana. And all we're gonna do is turn the depth down to, I don't know, maybe like 2.5-ish, and the rate down maybe like, again, 2.5, 2.6. This is fine. This would be fine. Let's just hear it. Now we just need to add a little bit of EQ in the master section and we'll be done. Let's go right now, boom, to our master section. And let's go and add my favorite EQ. Wow, a lot of bad clicking over here. And let's go to my EQ81, put it in our first slot. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a low cut at 82. I always make a cut at 82 because there's nothing else lower than that in guitars, and anything else that we can be getting is just like noise from our effects or noise from our microphones or whatever it is that we don't really want. And then you guessed it, if you're tuned lower than that, that high pass needs to go a little bit lower. And in this EQ, you would have to go to 47, but that's not here nor there. Now let's turn this output down a little bit. Now we're going to add at 10K high shelf boost, let's say 3 dB, 2.9, whatever. But I feel like I lost a little bit of bottom, so let's compensate for that. So we're going to go right here at the 180 frequency. And this is usually a great frequency for guitars, especially if you do that cut at 82. Then, of course, compensating with a little bit of boost right here, maybe just 2 dB would be enough. Let's try it. So there's a big difference, and it's a really good difference. I mean, that's a big difference. And I'm thankful for you that stay out this long in the video because, of course, we're learning a lot, but all the sauce, I'm giving it out in the end. So if you don't stay too long, you're not going to get the great sound. I'm thankful for you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Okay, but I still feel like there's something else like with the little pick attack that I want more of. So just pick another EQ, in this case, the vintage EQ1. I've said it before, this one has a sound that I really like. And we're going to choose a 3K frequency and we're just going to boost 3 dB. Let's go. Now let's hear what's the difference. That sounds really good. And now let's add the super 80s. See how it feels. And when we turn the super 80s off, and this effects too, just so that you have like a rhythm guitar tone, let's say, if you will. And now with the super 80s. On that note, my friend, let's go get a few conclusions. Alright. So there you go, my friend. An 80s tone with all the mojo, all the vibe, all the creativity. All it needs is you, the great guitar player, to play with it. But I feel like very key is that you notice that there's a few elements that you might want to keep on all the time, and some that you might want to use like for certain kind of riffs. But if 80s you needed, my friend, 80s you got. So I appreciate you so much for being here. This has been such a long video, and like I said before, if you're still here, please let me know in the comments and say I'm still here, and make sure that you always like, subscribe, and if you can financially support me, make sure you hit that super thanks. I super thank you. And if you still have some time to watch another video, my friend, please go click right here and I'll be waiting for you right there. Thank you so much for being here.